Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever wondered how incredibly precise ancient texts can get,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to something as personal as, daily conduct and interaction?
Absolutely. We're
Yeah.
talking about guidance that really delves into some surprisingly specific details of human behavior.
And that's our focus today, isn't it?
Precisely. Today, our deep dive focuses on Quranic injunctions related to modesty and interaction, specifically from Surah An-Nur, verse 31, a surah being a chapter of the Quran.
Okay.
And we're drawing from a fascinating stack of sources, really.
Hmm.
Everything from specific product listings on Amazon for various Quran editions.
Right, the accessibility aspect.
Exactly, all the way to a detailed scholarly interpretation, which is known as a tafsir, of this really pivotal verse.
So our mission today, for you listening, is to pull out the most valuable insights from these sources. We want to help you understand the practical applications, the nuanced interpretations,
Mhm.
and how these ancient texts connect to your everyday world, starting with, well, how people even get their hands on them these days. And here's where it gets really interesting. If you wanted to dive into this sacred text today, what would you actually find? The sheer accessibility and variety? It's quite remarkable, isn't it? Especially in our digital age.
It really is.
What does this kind of widespread availability, on places like Amazon, tell us about how these sacred texts are integrating with modern life, with modern commerce?
Oh, it tells us quite a lot, I think. You'd find an incredible range of editions. I mean, from traditional hardcovers, various sizes, to
Yep.
digital ebooks and audio versions, too. What's really striking is the diversity in language options.
Ah.
You've got Arabic only, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but also bilingual versions with English, Urdu, Pashto. It shows how widely these texts are being read and listened to globally.
Right.
And then there are even specialized editions, like to help with pronunciation. A Tajweed Qur'an, for
Okay.
instance, may be color-coded to guide proper recitation.
Mhm.
Or a Mushaf Medina, which is a sort of widely accepted standard edition.
So it's really tailored to different needs.
Exactly. This wide array, it really underscores how accessible the Qur'an is now.
Yeah.
Anyone can engage with it in a way that suits them. And this presence, it's not just convenience, is it? It reflects a fascinating intersection, like you said, where this ancient sacred text meets modern global consumption,
Yeah.
often bypassing traditional gatekeepers in a way.
That's a powerful point. So whether you're looking for a physical copy to study closely or, a digital version for quick reference, maybe an audio version for listening,
Mhm.
the sources show there's just a multitude of options to engage with the Quran in its original Arabic or with translations.
And this broad accessibility, it
Mm.
brings us perfectly to the core of our deep dive today.
Mm-mm.
The detailed tafsir, the interpretation. Specifically as Surah An-Nur, verse 31. This verse is incredibly significant because it provides a really comprehensive guide on modesty and interaction.
Okay, so let's get into that. The verse begins with an injunction, similar to one given to men just before it, calling for believers, both men and women, to lower their gazes.
Mhm.
So when we look at the specific part for women,
Hmm.
to lower their gazes from non-mahram men, those are men they could potentially marry, right?
That's correct. Men who aren't close relatives, yes. For women, it's a specific command to lower their gazes from these men. The tafsir explains this is really about preventing any, well, inappropriate looking.
Okay.
And you're right to ask about differing views, because there is nuance here. Different scholarly opinions exist.
Ah,
Some early jurists, they base their view on a hadith that's a verified saying or action of the Prophet Muhammad,
right.
involving one of his wives, Sayyida Salama, and a blind companion. Based on that, they argued it's absolutely forbidden for women to look at non-mahram men, period, regardless of intent.
Absolutely forbidden.
Whoa. But then other jurists, they drew from a different hadith. This one involved another wife, Sayyida Aisha, watching some African youths doing military exercises.
Okay.
And they ruled that there's no harm if women look at unfamiliar males, provided it's without passion or desire.
Ah, so the intent matters there.
It does in that view.
Yeah.
But the crucial common ground, and this is important across all schools of thought, is very clear. All scholars unanimously agree that looking with lust is prohibited. No question.
Okay, that part's universal.
Universal. And even looking without lust is generally considered, not a preferred act. Discouraged, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Then moving on, the verse also delves into these concepts of satra and zina.
Satra and Zina.
Satra refers to the parts of the body that Islamic injunctions say must be concealed.
Okay.
For men, this is generally the area from the navel down to the knees. For women, it's understood to encompass the whole body, except face and palms.
The whole body except face and palm.
And the general rule is that seeing another person's satra without a lawful reason is prohibited.
So, if satra is what must be covered, the verse then talks about zina, which is adornment. What exactly is zina here, and what does the verse say about showing it?
Right. Zina literally means anything that makes a woman attractive. Could
Right.
be clothes, jewelry, makeup,
Got it.
The scholarly consensus when the verse talks about zina is that it primarily refers to the parts of the body where the objects of zina are worn.
Oh.
Think about where you'd wear jewelry, for example.
Makes sense.
And the core prohibition is that women must not expose their adornment.
Okay. Must not expose it. But then there's this really crucial exception in the verse, isn't there? Ma zahara minya, except that which appears thereof.
Exactly. A very important exception.
How is that interpreted? Because that seems key for daily life.
It is. And there are two main explanations among the early respected scholars. One major interpretation coming from someone like Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Masud. He understood ma zahara minya as referring to the outer covering itself, like a veil or a sheet that a woman wears when she goes out. You simply can't hide everything all the time when you're working or moving around. Some part of the outer garment will inevitably show.
Okay, so the outer layer itself.
That's one view. But then another very prominent companion, Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas, he interpreted it differently. He saw it as meaning the face and palms. His reasoning was that these parts are just very difficult to keep covered when a woman is busy with necessary tasks, work, interactions.
Right, that makes practical sense too. So two different takes on what appears thereof.
Exactly, and this naturally leads to a difference of opinion among later scholars on whether uncovering the face and palms before non-mahrams is actually permissible or not.
Okay.
However, and this is crucial again despite this difference, there's a consensus point.
What's that?
All scholars agree that if there is the clear risk of fitna, meaning the stimulation of illicit desires, temptation, social disruption, if looking at a particular woman's face and palms might cause that kind of fitna,
Right.
then uncovering them is not allowed. Context matters. Also, it's universally agreed that women can uncover their faces and palms during prayers.
Okay, so prayer is a clear exception, and the risk of fitna is a major condition.
Absolutely. And trying to reconcile these different interpretations, some well-known scholars like Qadi Baidawi and Kazin, they offered a sort of pragmatic view.
How did they bridge it?
They suggested that, well, the face and palms might get uncovered inadvertently during daily activities, right? That act of uncovering itself isn't necessarily a sin for the woman. But the general command for men to lower their gaze still applies, unless there's a specific need to look.
So it balances the woman's need for practicality with the man's responsibility.
Kind of, yes. It acknowledges the reality of life while upholding the principle. Now, when we look at contemporary relevance, the Tafsir notes a strong view, especially given what's seen as the prevalence of temptation, mischief, and lasciviousness in modern society, is that it's generally considered impermissible to uncover the face before non-mahram men, except for necessity like medical treatment or in an emergency.
So a more cautious approach prevails today, it seems.
In many scholarly circles, yes. Emphasizing precaution due to the social context. Then following the general command about not exposing adornment, the verse gets even more specific. It commands, and must wrap their bosoms with their shawls.
Wrap their bosoms with their shawls. Okay.
Here, komor means shawls or head coverings, and juyub refers to the bosoms, the chest area.
Got it.
Now, this injunction, it was actually given to address a specific pre-Islamic custom.
Oh, interesting. What was that?
Before Islam, apparently, women would often wear their head coverings or sheets in a way that they'd hang down their backs. This left the neck, ears, and the upper chest area uncovered.
Okay.
So the verse directly addressed this practice. It enjoined Muslim women to take the two sides of their shawl or sheet and draw them across their front, one over the other, specifically to cover these parts, ensuring their zina, their adornment, and the places it's worn was properly hidden.
Wow, that's incredibly specific. It's not just a general principle. It's like, no, do it this way, addressing a specific fashion of the time.
Precisely. A very practical instruction based on the context.
So this guidance is clearly about practical, everyday conduct. And then the verse goes on to list specific categories of people, men and women, before whom a woman doesn't need to observe this full level of hijab.
That's right.
What's the thinking behind these exceptions? It seems quite detailed.
It is a detailed blueprint. The Tafsir explains there are basically two main reasons for these exceptions. First, these men fall into the category of mahrams.
The close relatives again.
Yes, the close male relatives where there's considered no risk of any trouble. The understanding is that divine wisdom has put in their hearts deep respect and honor for their female kin.
Okay, so a natural barrier exists.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
And second, just for the sake of convenience, ease of life.
Yeah.
Because close relatives normally live all together or interact very frequently.
Makes sense. Daily life would be very difficult otherwise.
It would. But it's really important to clarify something here. This exception, it applies to the rules of hijab, the outer covering and adornment. It does not change the rules about a woman's satir, her private parts.
Ah, okay. That distinction is key.
Very key. The satir is only allowed to be uncovered before her husband. So the verse then details 12 categories of people where this relaxed standard of hijab applies.
12 categories. Let's hear them.
Okay, first, obviously, husbands. No hiding required there, although the tafsir notes that even between spouses, looking at private parts without a specific need isn't generally preferred.
Okay.
Then, 8 categories of mahram men. So fathers, and that includes grandfathers, great-grandfathers, up the line.
Right.
Fathers-in-law, again, including the husband's grandfather.
That's right.
Sons,
Okay.
husband's sons, even if they're from his otherwise. Brothers, this includes full paternal and maternal stepbrothers, but not cousin brothers. That's an important distinction.
Not cousins. Okay.
Then sons of brothers, nephew through a brother, including sons of stepbrothers,
Yeah.
again, not sons of cousins.
Right.
And finally, sons of sisters, nephew through a sister, including sons of stepsisters. Again, not sons of cousins.
Wow, that's incredibly specific and quite extensive. It really maps out the family structure in detail.
It does. It shows the depth of thought given to social boundaries and interactions.
So those are the direct relatives, the mahrams. You said there were 12 categories total. What about the others?
Yes, beyond those 8 mahram categories, there are 4 others.
Okay.
9th is their women. This is generally understood to mean other Muslim women. Before them, a woman can uncover the parts that she's allowed to uncover before her father or sons, for example.
Other Muslim women. What about non-Muslim women? Is there a discussion on that?
Yes, there is. It's a point of scholarly debate. Some scholars, like Allama Alusi, cited in the tafsir, argue that given modern life, it practically encompasses all women because making a distinction today is often almost impossible for Muslim women interacting in diverse societies.
Okay, so practicality comes into play again.
It often does in interpretation. 10th category. Those owned by their right hands. Historically, this referred to slaves or servants.
Right.
The wording in the verse is general, could mean male or female. However, many scholars interpret this as applying only to female slaves, not male ones. An early jurist named Jassas suggested this phrasing helped distinguish female slaves, especially non-Muslim ones, from free Muslim women regarding dress codes.
Interesting historical context. Okay, 2 more categories.
11th. Male attendants having no sexual urge. This is quite specific. It refers to men who are described as maybe confused and deranged type of persons who genuinely have no liking and inclination toward women and absolutely no interest in their physical appearance or beauty.
So not just someone who's old or impotent.
No, the tafsir is clear on that. Old age or physical impotence doesn't automatically qualify someone. It's strictly about the complete absence of sexual desire or interest towards women. The text contrasts this with eunuchs, for example, who might still take an interest. There's even a hadith mentioned about the Prophet Muhammad stopping a eunuch from visiting his wives after noticing the man was paying attention to feminine details.
Wow, so it's about the internal disposition, not just physical capability.
Exactly. And finally, the 12th category, children who are not yet conscious of the shames of women.
Young children.
Yes, young children who haven't reached puberty and are essentially ignorant of or uninterested in what the tafsir calls ladies' special attributes, the obligation to cover before a boy begins when he starts to show interest in those aspects, usually as he nears puberty.
That covers a lot of social ground. It's incredible how prescriptive this verse is, going way beyond just, be modest.
It really is.
And it seems the concept extends beyond just what's seen, too. You mentioned earlier preventing the sound of ornaments.
Absolutely. The verse explicitly says, and let them not stamp their feet in a way that the adornment they conceal is known.
So don't jingle your anklets, basically?
Essentially, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make sounds with hidden ornaments that could draw unnecessary attention. And this leads jurists to consider, well, if the sound of inanimate ornaments is prohibited.
What about the woman's voice?
Precisely.
Okay.
Which can arguably be much more alluring or attention-grabbing.
Is there agreement on that? Is the voice considered part of sathar?
There's a debate. Some jurists, particularly within the Hanafi school, have said yes, the voice can be part of what should be concealed from non-mahrams. Others, like many in the Shafi'i school, say no, the voice itself isn't satr.
Okay.
But we also have hadith accounts confirming that the Prophet's wives did speak to non-mahram men, but usually from behind a curtain or screen.
Ah, so there was interaction, but with a barrier.
Exactly. So the nuanced conclusion, according to the Taqsir, is that hearing a woman's voice isn't inherently forbidden, but it becomes impermissible only when and where it may create a fitna, a temptation or disturbance.
Back to the fitna condition again.
Yes. If there's a risk of that, then it should be avoided. Otherwise, it's allowed. However, the text also adds a note of caution, sort of prudential advice. Women should generally take care and avoid talking to non-mahrams, even from behind the curtains, unless necessary.
So minimize unnecessary conversation.
That seems to be the guidance, and this holistic approach extends even further.
Oh, so.
To scent, for example. The tafsir explains that going out wearing perfume is also generally prohibited for women if non-mahram men might smell it.
Really? Perfume too?
Yes, because it's considered a kind of hidden zina, an adornment that shouldn't reach non-mahrams and potentially attract attention. There's a hadith cited from Tirmidhi strongly warning against women going out perfumed in this way.
Okay.
And similarly, going out wearing a decorated veil is considered unlawful. Why?
Wow.
Because the veil itself then becomes an adornment, exposing zina rather than concealing it.
It defeats the purpose.
Exactly. And the text reiterates the point about the face. While there's that difference of opinion we discussed on whether it must be covered, it emphasizes that the face is undeniably the pivotal point of zina. It's central to beauty and attraction. Therefore, hiding it from non-mahrams is seen as essential, except in cases of need.
So even if not strictly satr for some, its importance makes covering it highly recommended or necessary in most non-essential situations.
That's a good summary of the view presented. And then after all these detailed instructions,
Yes.
the verse concludes with this powerful, all-encompassing instruction addressed to all believers, men and women.
What is it?
And repent to Allah, O believers, all of you.
Repent after all that guidance.
Yes. It serves as this profound reminder. Sexual desire, attraction, these are delicate, often hidden things. We might conceal our thoughts or glances from others, but everything, concealed or open, is completely known to Allah. So it's a call for sincere repentance for any past mistakes, any failures to meet these standards, and also a call for a firm resolve to adhere to these principles going forward, seeking God's forgiveness and guidance.
Wow, what an illuminating deep dive. That's incredibly comprehensive, from, specific rulings on where to look, what parts of the body are what, the details of adornment to the really intricate details of who you can relax those rules with, family structures mapped out, and then even considering sound and scent. This one verse, it offers just an incredibly detailed blueprint for modesty and interaction.
It really does. It's quite remarkable how much is packed in there.
It really is a detailed guide for daily life, isn't it? Right down to, like you said, the smallest sounds or smells.
Precisely. And this in-depth look into Surah An-Nur, verse 31, it really highlights how specific scriptural guidance often reflects and also seeks to actively shape societal norms. It's offering a blueprint for conduct that, as we've seen, extends way beyond just the purely physical.
Yeah, touching on sound, scent, even intention, and the risk of fitna.
Exactly. It speaks to a very holistic approach to human interaction and self-awareness.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it, how these kinds of detailed frameworks, which are often rooted in very specific historical and social contexts, how do they continue to inform and influence individual choices and collective norms today in such vastly different time?
That's a deep question.
What does that adaptability, or maybe the enduring nature of these concerns about, attraction, boundaries, self-regulation, what does that tell us about ourselves, especially now in our hyper-connected, often quite stimulating world? Something to think about.